Going. We are rolling.
Michael Tremblay and Joel Jacquard.
Joel in the white, Mike in the dark blue. Mike is an IBJJF champ at brown belt. He trains out at Alpha MMA in Toronto under his father's tutelage.
Ottawa, actually.
Ottawa.
Yeah. Member of the Brazilian top team as well.
Yes.
Joel right down into that deep half, huh?
Yeah. Joel likes to be here. Again, we've talked about the deep half in other fights.
It's kind of a famous move out in the East Coast here because of Jake, I think.
Slightly advantageous for Joel on the bottom, but certainly not something that can with any certainty stop. And Joel with the takedown, but Mike quickly grabs onto that key lock grip. Mike told me before the fight he favors the crucifix position as well, so he went through a rolling kimura there. It's a key lock position, but you can kimura or armbar from there. And wow, that's a lot of pressure on Joel's arm. And we're going for that armbar we talked about before, but Joel quickly spins out using the hitchhiker escape. Joel's going to have to come up and put lots of pressure on that arm. If Mike can extend him, it is over. Joel's on top where he wants to be, but we see Mike Tremblay grab a single leg there and look to do a little bit of wrestling. They're back on their feet. So far, this has been exciting.
Joel looks a little bit bigger.
I think Joel has 5-10 pounds on him, but I'm not sure. That they've met once prior at the ADCC trials. They were in the same weight division, and I believe Mike won by a couple of points. So these two gentlemen know each other. They respect each other. Arm drag. Oh, and you see that kimura grip that Mike continues to apply right now is a perfect angle, okay? And we've lost that kimura grip, and we're back on it. That kimura grip can be especially devastating to the shoulder and the elbow joint. We've got a rolling kimura, which allows him to now transition into an armbar attack. And once again, Joel's going to look to pressure him, stay on top and pressure him. If Mike can use his legs to push Joel back, to stretch him out, then he can apply leverage to Joel's elbow. And Joel's escaped now and has circled around Mike, but my goodness, Mike moves well with his hips.
Just gonna stop the action, I think, bring it back to the middle.
Absolutely.
That Mike, very, very quick. This is a very action-packed match as well.
Absolutely.
Some
very
sharp gis are wearing there.
Very worthy of the co-main event. What does that gi say? VC kimono. That is a nice gi.
Joel representing the Taylorgang there, of course. One of the
Team
biggest clubs in
Titans for
Halifax.
life. They say Taylorgang over everything. But tonight it could be Alpha, BJJ in the house. Mike aggressively trying to change the direction of this fight such that he comes up on top. Mike's going to stand, and what a nice pass. And that's actually one of Joel's patented passes. So a bit of irony there.
These guys, Joel seems to be having a little bit of trouble with Mike and the speed.
And again, I think if we had a better camera angle, we would see that Tremblay will be setting up a kimura grip on Joel's right arm again. Joel doing a good job of using that lapel to leverage Mike a little bit. Mike looking to drive that knee out and across Joel such that he ends up in a quarter mount. It's very hard to tell how much strategy goes into this, but anyone who's ever done this recognizes nice opening there.
I wonder if he'll go into that crucifix there.
Now, if
no, he likes that.
Yeah, if he manages to get that crucifix, I think it's a knee on belly attempt. He's going to try to slide over into mount, and once both knees touch the ground, he establishes what's called the mount position, and he does have it temporarily before Joel blasts out of it. Joel looking to deploy some butterfly hooks, a single leg X guard here.
A lot of heart in Joel.
Absolutely. Well, Joel was the man who signed up to fight Marvin the Beastman Eastman on 3 hours' notice. And if anyone knows the Beastman, he's a UFC, an ex-UFC fighter, and Joel stepped up to the plate. But Marvin Eastman decided to
he retired,
I believe. Yeah. Safe to say Joel retired.
Mm-hmm.
Tremblay with the cross-face pressure here, but Joel constantly using his legs to leverage Tremblay off of him and keep Tremblay at bay, so to speak. Tremblay's been aggressive. We see Tremblay's knee slide through. You see his knee that's touching the ground. If he can slide that deeper onto the ground, he can eventually pull that trapped foot of his out. But Joel manipulating that leg such that the knee guard turns into a knee on belly. Sort of hopped out of that position, and we see Tremblay with that crossbody. Joel quickly reguards or takes the half guard, but Tremblay blasts out of it. This has been action-packed.
We're about 6 minutes into this match here now. Man, I don't think they've stopped.
These guys they're movers. They're movers and shakers.
Movers and shakers.
There's been no moss gathered thus far, nor will there be.
You love the no moss.
It's all I have. It's the only thing unique about me. So.
I like it. Oh, you're unique. Here he is here. What's he going to go for? He's got to get that underhook, eh, Dan?
Absolutely.
On the right side.
Joel in a deep half guard. And allows Joel to leverage Mike's weight a little bit. Joel trying to get to his knees, but there we go. We are now in a crucifix position where Mike has Joel's left arm trapped, and he is putting that pressure on the gi lapel for a choke. I don't know how Joel survived that, other than to say he has heart and technique. I would say technacity. Nonetheless, Mike Tremblay has been very impressive in that attacking strategy.
I just have to say too, this is like the quality of this filming has been just top notch to catch all the angles. It's
absolutely
really nice.
A good shout out to Eastlink and everything they've done to make this happen. Tremblay is going to take a second to throw his belt on. Joel's going to adjust his belt as well. These guys are ready to go back to war. So if they can take a few deep breaths in the meantime, why not?
Here we go. Couple of minutes. We're about halfway through the match now, Dan.
Tremblay keeps that side mount. Watch for Tremblay try to set up some type of Kimura grip potentially. Nice cross face to pressure Joel away. Joel loves that deep half guard.
This could almost be the fight of the night so far. This has been very exciting.
Joel using his legs to manipulate Tremblay's base is what we call it. And there we go. That was a near sweep.
Couldn't get all the way to the back.
Tremblay's basing really well with that left hand of his. Nonetheless, Joel is relentless in this attack. So we see Tremblay come back on top again.
He is like a badger.
He's going to try to pull that foot out and end up in another position which may eventually become a crucifix.
Joel's got a shrimp. Get on his side. Get away from that. Yeah, we're about 8 minutes in, Dan.
Yeah. We see Tremblay use his knee to cut across, and for a moment there, Tremblay was in a mounted position. He goes back to a mount, but Joel's really good at capturing that foot. Tremblay is good at applying that pressure, and he keeps coming relentlessly.
He's not giving up. He's looking for something. I'm not really sure what he's shooting for here, but he's looking like he's setting something up.
And there we go. There's the full mount.
Maybe it's a collar. Oh, look, he's getting that collar in there, the collar choke.
This is a position that Tremblay can be very dominant from. I think he's going to go for an armbar attempt here, but Joel senses it and does a good job of hiding that arm.
Oh, he's got to shock him off there, and else he's going to
this is a bad place for Joel to be. And with the cross choke. Wow. That was nice, folks. Joel a little bit upset nonetheless, but it's never a shame to lose to a champion like Mike Tremblay. Let's move to the replay and recap on Mike and Joel's exciting fight. Here we see Joel playing his patented deep half guard. Very easy to leverage his opponent up and create what he wants. Joel comes up and looks for the takedown. Mike Tremblay sensing it, putting the Kimura grip on, forcing Joel to roll. That Kimura grip, or the key lock, is no joke. Joel spins around using that hitchhiker escape we saw earlier. He looks to put some pressure on Tremblay pulling his arm out. Here we see Tremblay with the lapel choke, pulling that lapel into Joel's neck, but Joel spins to the other side, postponing the eventual inevitable. Here we see the cross choke set up from mount, and ultimately the finishing move by Mike as he hits that cross choke, driving those forearms into Joel's throat, forcing extra downward pressure and causing Joel to eventually have to tap. And Craig, let's throw it back to you.
We're here with Michael Tremblay, who's victorious over Joel Jacquard by a cross choke from the mount. You two have competed before. What was different this time?
This time, last time we didn't finish with the submission. So this time it was going to the end, right? It wasn't points. It was just going to the submission, and it worked out in my favor.
How much experience do you have with the submission-only format?
This is my first submission-only tournament, but I love it. I think it's a great format to test your skills against other great competitors.
Joel Jacquard was underneath you for quite a lot of the match, but he's doing a good job of disturbing your base with the deep half guard. How difficult was it for you to stay within the guard pass there?
It was very difficult. He is very, very good at deep half guard. I knew that coming in. I knew I wanted to avoid it, but sometimes he's still able to impose it anyway. But I just kept my base, I kept my balance, and worked out.
What did you have a solid game plan coming in?
The game plan was stay on top and grind until he got tired. And I was able to do that, fortunately.
Everyone's talking about what a nice guy you are. I know you're a Master's of Philosophy candidate and that you're interested in martial arts as a form of improvement of character. What lesson do you think you're taking from this event tonight?
Oh, the biggest thing I've taken from this event is not so much the competition, but just how nice all the other competitors were. And I'm learning how much at martial arts, how much the great people are so humble, and I'm trying to learn from that and look to them as role models.
I know your family, all martial artists, your father's a black belt, your sister is a black belt. You're a credit to your family and you're a credit to your hometown of Carleton Place, Ontario. You've done a great job representing everyone tonight. It's a pleasure to call your match. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event. We have Jonathan Satava out of Marcelo Garcia's Academy in New York versus Kyle Sandford out of Titans in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Kat, thoughts on this very exciting fight?
You got it. Very exciting, that's for sure. No gi, 15 minutes, Jonathan Satava, Kyle Sandford. Not much more.
We've got Satava on the Dream Team versus Kyle Sandford, a local legend on the scene for more than 12 years. This is guaranteed to please everyone. This is a fight where anything can happen, so let's get going. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the main event of the night. John Satava versus Kyle Sandford. Satava, a two-time world champion at brown belt. He's certainly a key element in Marcelo Garcia's Dream Team. And Kyle Sandford, an absolute local legend. He's been fighting MMA and doing BJJ since 2003. A 9-1 record. Recently, not recently, about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, received his black belt directly from Renzo Gracie. Kyle is no joke. He's a feared man locally, and I think even universally there's a little bit of buzz about him.
There looked like a little wince just came out of Kyle's face there.
But if there's one thing we know about Satava is that he is the man. Satava talks about sitting down, grabbing a leg, and coming back up for the takedown. It's sort of a modified version of wrestling, where you sit down, grab a leg, and then stand back up and take the person down. Satava in the one leg or the single leg X guard, made famous by his famous coach Marcelo Garcia. Marcelo being one of the absolute best in the world. So we have got a local legend versus a New York legend.
Kyle actually fought George St. Pierre, I believe, just a few years ago as well.
Yeah, they had a submission event and a nice deep single leg by Satava, but Kyle refusing to allow that to take him to the ground. Kyle wiggles his leg out. Interesting, Kyle went to New York to get his black belt from Renzo Gracie. At the same time, Satava is in New York with Marcelo Garcia. So these guys have something in common, but they certainly don't share a desire to lose. The one thing they don't have in common is that only one man will win. What a takedown
Quick.
chance that was. We see some of the gentlemen at the edge of the stage responsible to make sure that the men don't roll into the alligator pit. Worst thing that could ever happen to an alligator is to have one of these men roll into a pit with them. Satava working that butterfly guard. Satava is very aggressive. You'll notice he never lets his back touch the ground. If he does, it's for a moment just like that to develop the momentum to rock Kyle backwards, but then Satava's back is off the mat again. A lot of people favor that style where you sort of lay on your back and play the spider. Nice takedown by Satava.
He's just... It's
He's
the
a beast.
second or third time he's tried that.
Beast. Let's not forget that Kyle works construction full time. He's got a beautiful wife and children. So Kyle is certainly a force to be reckoned with, all things considered. But look at that pressure pass attempt by Satava. Satava trying to hop over that butterfly of Kyle. Whenever Kyle has his feet inserted in between Satava's thighs, we call this a butterfly guard. Right now, this would be butterfly. You can use it to leverage someone up and over. You can flip them over your head or off to the side.
Kyle prefers that, doesn't he?
Yeah, he
does.
does.
Quite a bit.
He does. Unfortunately, Satava's coach, Marcelo Garcia, has also been recognized as one of the most prevalent forces in the development of the butterfly guard. So there's nothing Kyle's going to throw at Satava that Satava doesn't experience every day.
Definitely.
But I think it's safe to say Satava can't really throw anything at Kyle that he hasn't experienced up there at Team Titans. With
old school and as tough as they come.
As tough as they come. Him and Peter Martell and Roger Hollett and, of course, Kevin Taylor back in the old days just fighting on worn-out mats for their life. We've come a long way. Submission Series Pro has come full circle, folks.
No question. It's a submission. It's been around here for a long time, started by guys like Ray McKinnon but it's...
Well, and a lot of people don't know that the Gracies camped out here in Nova Scotia for about a year back in the late 90s before they developed international fame. So the Nova Scotia BJJ scene is steeped in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu history and Gracie history. We've got Kyle, the Renzo Gracie black belt, versus Satava, the Marcelo Garcia Dream Team brown belt.
I really like that above camera angle. I think
it helps a lot, doesn't it?
See what Satava can.
Quick show of respect, and away we go. We're about 10 minutes into this fight, and we haven't lost a beat.
5 minutes, sorry, Dan.
5 or 10. I just want to get every second out of this. This is exciting. We have somewhat of a wrestling match going on right now with the flying guillotine you would not see in wrestling. Kyle drops to guard to avoid that. He looks to spin and invert and go for that arm bar. Satava pressuring, trying to sneak his knee out. You see Satava snuck that knee through? He's got tons of cross-face pressure on Kyle's jaw, and that essentially forces Kyle to look away from Satava's body such that he can't move in and form frames pushing Satava away.
It's something looks like it's going on with Kyle's left arm. And
I'm not sure.
A lot of defense there.
I know there's something going on with the crossface, that's for certain.
There it
that
is.
a mean place to put someone.
Wow.
With all due respect, this is a dominant position for Satava.
No question.
He's trying to isolate Kyle's arm, but Kyle is smart. He keeps that elbow glued to his rib cage, which really prevents Satava from getting underneath of it and then performing any type of key lock or arm leverage submission. We have what's called the north-south position now. Satava was reversed, essentially. He was still on the side mount, but one head is north, one is south in this position. We go back to a cross face again.
Kyle staying very tight.
Absolutely. Kyle not willing to give anything up from this position, but at the same time, Satava not letting him out of this position. Kyle using his legs to sort of create some distance between him and Satava, but Satava is heavy with that pressure, very heavy. You see Satava up on his toes at most times, always generating that force pushing into Kyle. But let's face it, We're never going to rule Kyle out. We're going to expect anything from either of these gentlemen at any moment.
No question, right to the last second. You know what can happen.
So far, Satava has taken side mount at one time, and I think he may have scored a takedown earlier in the match. But this has been a close fight, a very competitive fight. And again, tons of things going on behind the scenes that as we advance in Submission Series Pro, our ultimate goal is to educate our fan base on the science, the scoring, the essence of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the positional techniques, the philosophy, and ultimately the submission opportunities. Again, we find Satava in a north-south position. He rotates off to the side. Lots of cross-face pressure. Anytime I say cross-face, I'm referring to that shoulder of Satava driving into the side of Kyle's face, which does not allow Kyle to turn back into Satava and frame him away.
So strong.
Absolutely. Kyle is brutally strong, so I can only imagine how strong Satava is.
Yeah, Kyle. Not many flies on that fella.
Absolutely. Kyle prefers to train mostly on a Jell-O diet, he told me. So for anyone at home looking to increase their strength or cardio, don't rule out Jell-O.
No flavor.
He didn't specify flavor.
Lime.
Lime, no doubt.
Lime seems.
Satava, on the other hand, talks a lot about his love of surfing and skateboarding. He says the similarities between the three sports are incredible. It's all about balance. It's all about making millimeter adjustments in your base or your posture such that you don't tip over or such that you can force the other person to tip over and take that top position. We're back into a wrestling style match, but unlike wrestling, submissions occur anywhere at any time. Satava grabs that single leg, goes for the double.
Yeah, knocks off the score. I can't get over how quick he is with that sit down.
He is. Satava told me ahead of time, I plan to sit down, grab a leg, stand back up, and turn it back into wrestling.
It's really, really impressive to watch.
It's a really neat hybrid of wrestling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
Never in wrestling would you see somebody sit down and grab a leg and sit back up.
So quick. His body's built for it. You know, you can look at his body and just...
And Jiu-Jitsu gives him the freedom to be creative. He's not stifled by the restrictions of wrestling and judo.
No question.
He's open to grapple in any shape, form, or size. And that's not to discredit the beauty of judo and wrestling, because we all depend heavily on that within Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is what we call an open-minded sport. If it works, we want a piece of it. Kyle on top now, really trying to put that pressure back.
Look how strong.
Oh, and Kyle grabs the back of Satava's head in order to not be swept. Satava was on the bottom. He used his feet to knock Kyle on his back. So that reversal would earn Satava 2 points in an International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation competition.
Closing in 4.5 minutes here left in.
I'll tell you, it's been exciting. What a way to end the night. And yet, what a way to start Submission Series Pro. This is our first event, and we can assure you things will only get better, smoother, and more exciting as we go along. We thank you that you're joining us for this ride, and we promise to make it worth it every step of the way. Satava again with that crossface, and he goes for the north-south choke. Satava has his arms wrapped around Kyle's throat. North-south again, in that one head is pointed north, the other south, and this is a devastating position, again made famous by Satava's coach, Marcelo Garcia. Kyle's in a lot of trouble here, and yet, if anyone is going to survive an onslaught, it's Kyle. Kyle refuses to tap. They say he only tapped once. And that was to a...
Matt Serra, wasn't it?
Superhuman, yeah.
Superhuman.
They suspected he was part superhuman, so if Satava's able to tap Kyle tonight, he'll do something only one other man in the entire world has ever done. For those at home, I am exaggerating slightly, but I make no qualms about calling Kyle what he is. He's a legend, and yet Satava is a dream team phenom. Satava on the world circuit is as big as it gets right now. Satava wasn't someone we brought in simply because we wanted an out-of-province fighter. We brought Satava in because he is one of the absolute best in the world, and we wanted to put him up against the best we have locally.
Look at that takedown. It just...
Kyle looking to potentially grab that left arm for a moment, but Satava's very, very good at sensing what Kyle's doing and moving one step beyond it. This is a chess match in the ultimate sense. Very difficult for the untrained eye to pick up on some of the nuances, but we promise to continue to educate you and make believers out of all of you. This is a beautiful sport. We hope you can come train at one of the local gyms that are all across Nova Scotia and all across the world.
We're about 2 minutes out here. Someone's going to make a move here, Dan.
Something might happen, but at the same time, these are two men that are incredibly difficult to submit and typically refuse. Kyle with a nice Kimura lock there, it seems, trying to pull that left arm of Satava's out to expose it and eventually attack it.
He's going for the mount.
Satava turns that attack into an opportunity to side mount, back to north-south again. We've been here a number of times with Satava and Kyle. I'd say after about 20 minutes, both these men must be incredibly tired. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is equated to swimming through concrete. Okay, your opponent is constantly controlling you to the point where you're exhausted. His goal is to take away space and to crush. Your goal on the bottom is to make space and relieve that crush. And yet, anyone who's done it will be shocked at the energy it takes. There's nothing more enjoyable, though, than learning how to control your partner or your opponent.
We got a minute left here.
Minute and counting. This has been an incredible match. You can imagine how absolutely exhausted these men are.
Look at Kyle. Pure defense. He's just so tough.
Kyle's going to refuse. Pretty much refuse to be taken.
Look at that north-south, huh? We've got 30 seconds left, folks. 36 seconds.
Modified guillotine here by Satava, and yet Kyle seems to be fending it off at the moment. This is not a good place for Kyle to be. And again, we see that tenacity, that will to survive in any situation. Satava really putting the pressure down with that north-south choke, and he moves into a side mount position again. Less than 15 seconds left in this fight, guys, so I think this fight's going to go the distance. Oh, with just a few seconds left, literally a few seconds, we're down to the 5-second mark. 4, 3, 2, 1. And Sandford taps at 14:59. Can you believe this, folks? That's what we're talking about. Anything can happen at any moment. With 1 second left, Satava pulls off the knee bar. That was amazing. Guys, let's move back, replay that knee bar, get a little bit more of an angle there. The main fight of the night. There is that patented sit down, stand up wrestling, that hybrid wrestling jiu-jitsu at its finest. Here we see Kyle looking to expose Satava's right arm and potentially secure a Kimura. There's a lot of pressure on the shoulder right there. And yet Satava is able to sneak his arm back out and turn the table, so to speak. We see that from a different angle. If Kyle could have ripped that out, he may have been able to seize the opportunity for a key lock, but Satava was on to him. Here we see Satava transition nicely to the side mount, and with just seconds left, he pulls that leg out, exerting tremendous leverage on that knee joint. From a different angle there, we see that leg being extended, and Kyle taps with less than a second left. Like we said, anything can happen. Craig is standing by out back with competitors. Let's see what they have to say.
A terrific main event. The victorious Jonathan Satava by knee bar with 1 second left over a real cagey veteran in Kyle Sandford. Jonathan, what special challenges did Kyle present you with?
Man, his defense was really good, and I came out looking to wrestle because I felt he was thinking I was going to pull guard, and I've been working